What's going on, everybody? So I heard the news that the Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank fight has been canceled. Uh, this was a fight that I can honestly say I was not very interested in. And I'm a big boxing fan, as you guys all know. I saw this fight and I was thinking, what is the point of this fight? Uh, Weird fight where you have a 147 pounder fighting 160 pounder at a 157 pound catch weight. I know it's a big rivalry between Ben and Eubank, the fathers, had two great fights. It was a big rivalry, and that's the biggest rivalry in UK boxing history. But now that Conor Benn has tested positive, the fight's off the table anyways. I was not really that interested in this fight to begin with, and I would say that most of the American public was not either. I think that these type of fights are stupid, and I think that is the reason why these guys fail drug tests, because they make these catchweight fights. But the thing is that going into the fight, the way I look at it is like this. Chris Eubank, he's a middleweight. He's a good middleweight. I won't put him up there with Charlo and Andrade and those kind of people, but he's a good fighter. He's definitely like a legit contender type. He's not a champion. He wasn't what Golovkin or Canelo, like those kind of guys. No, he's not. But he's in that probably second tier, so he's a good middleweight. And to me, Conor Benn is also a second tier welterweight until proven otherwise. I mean, when you look at the welterweight division, you always bring up the young guys. So you bring up guys like Jaron Ennis. To me, I think Ennis is clearly better than Conor Benn. And Virgil Ortiz, I also think, is better than Conor Benn. Now, Conor Benn's young. Maybe he can prove himself, but I think most of the boxing public would favor those guys to beat Conor Benn right now and consider Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis to be better than Conor Benn. Obviously, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence are better than Benn. And if they fought right now, Keith Thurman and Conor Benn, or your Dennis Ugas and Conor Benn, I would probably still pick Keith Thurman and your Dennis Ugas to beat Conor Benn. So, to me, he's also a second-tier welterweight. So, the fight's kind of stupid from that angle. It's like, okay, a second-tier welterweight versus a second-tier middleweight, but then there's like the twist of he's young, Conor Benn, Eubank's a little bit older, Eubank might be weight drained, that kind of thing. But then this fight happens, and we get Conor Benn failing a drug test. Of course, he didn't do it. It was, a mistake. What's new in boxing when someone fails a drug test? And I don't know the particulars of the substance, and I just love all these people online. They're like, no, this substance is this substance is that, this substance is a masking agent. I didn't know everyone was a PED expert online. Like, I didn't know I was, following 100 Victor Contis online. But, yeah, this is what happens in boxing. And what's crazy about it is the fact that even when he failed the drug test, Conor Benn, people are like, well, the fight might still go on. Like, how does a fight still go on when a guy fails a drug test? It's like, what kind of sport is this? Like, in any other sport, if a guy fails a drug test, like, he's suspended and then they figure out the rest later. This is like, no, like, it's still going to go on and we'll try to make it work. Like, boxing's such a joke and such a zoo. But credit to them, they did cancel this fight. And I know Eddie Hearn got a lot of heat because in the past he's been very anti, guys who fail drug tests with VADA. And he said he doesn't want to continue the fight. I think it was when Buatsi fought Pascal. And now they showed the clip online where his guy, Conor Benn, failed it and he wants it to continue it. But credit, they're stopping the fight. They're not doing it. So I guess you either got to give Hearn some credit or you got to just say the pressure was too much that he couldn't continue the fight, under these circumstances. But everyone in boxing is out here lying. The interesting thing is, like Hearn, he actually tries to claim he has some kind of credibility. But even that, I think I take that with a grain of salt. But, yeah, I'm glad this fight's not happening. I shouldn't even say I'm glad the fight's not happening. I don't care that the fight is not happening. I'm not upset that it's not. I don't think it was that exciting of a matchup. Yeah, I guess Saturday night I would have liked to have seen that fight just because, I don't know what else is on boxing this week. You got Formella and El Campo. And, yeah, you got a pretty weak PBC card. So, yeah, it would have been cool. But these type of fights shouldn't happen. I don't think weight jumping in boxing is a good thing. And I think the problem with these weight jumping fights in boxing is that, let's say, even if the fight really went down, there was no cheating. Let's say Chris Eubank beats Conor Benn in that situation. People are going to say, oh, Chris Eubank, of course he beat him. He's a middleweight. He's a blown-up welterweight. And then if Conor Benn were to beat Eubank at 157-pound catchweight, they'd say, yeah, well, Eubank was weight trained. So it's like whatever happens in the fight, there's always a built-in excuse. So I just think it's stupid. I know Eddie Hearn said they were going to do 1 million pay-per-view buys in the UK. I know Ben and Eubank's a big rivalry. And, like, it's pretty cool that, like, their kids are fighting each other. But it would be cooler if they were actually at the same weight. And my thing is, like, this reminded me of when Kell Brook fought Triple G. And I'm like, because Eubank was supposed to fight Triple G, but he got injured, I think. And then Kell Brook stepped in there and he got knocked out by Triple G. Then he went back down. And my question is this. It's like, what's the point of, like, what's the end game? Like, okay, let's say Conor Benn fights Chris Eubank. Like, what does he do after this? Win or lose? Does he go back down to 147? Is he able to make that weight? Does he go to 154? Like, what is the play? I don't understand. What they should do is Conor Benn next year, after you serve the suspension time, whatever it is, go fight Josh Taylor, assuming Taylor and Catterall, whatever happens in that fight, let's, whatever. Let's say Taylor wins that, or even if he doesn't, Taylor goes up to welterweight, Josh Taylor, Kell Brook, if Taylor goes up to welterweight, because I know he's had problems with the weight, making the weight at 140. That's a big UK fight. If not, then Taylor should just fight Teofimo Lopez. But yeah, I think these type of fights leave these kind of things to happen. When you do these weight jumping stuff, these type of things are going to happen, and I don't really see the end game. But listen, Conor Benn, I know he'd be making a lot of money in this fight, and that's obviously very tempting. But I just don't see this fight ever being a great fight. I think if this fight did happen, most likely Eubank would just win the decision, and he would just be able to control the fight with his size and reach. And Conor Benn, maybe he could have sparked him out. I don't know, but I'm not really that interested in this fight. I never really was, so I guess I can't say it's a huge loss. But let me know what you guys think. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.